Okay. Dear friends, it's a great pleasure to welcome you all to this Nordic side event. We have just all come from the big picture, the high-level panel at Arctic Frontiers. It's a dramatic backdrop. We are all worried for the security situation. We spoke about Greenland and the fear that science will no longer be prioritized, the people of the Arctic. But there was one word that was repeated more than other words, and that was together. And this event and this project between many partners on both sides of the border, Norway, Sweden and Finland, municipalities, Troms County Council, the universities, Arctic 6 universities and the Nordic Council of Ministers. This is a project where we do work together. It's about the Nordic family, the Nordic trust, the Nordic ways, the democratic values, knowledge and innovation. And that's the topic of this event. The Nordic way, it has a special meaning to us. And it's a great pleasure to welcome State Secretary Agnete Masternes Hansen, representing the Norwegian government, the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. Please, State Secretary.
Thank you, Gøril, and thank you so much for inviting me to come here to Tromsø. It feels kind of like home being here with my former job being here in Tromsø. But I will start by underlining this. The government is strongly supporting Nordic and cross-border cooperations. And at this point in time, even more so, especially here in the High North. The Nordic Council of Ministers was established on the basis of close Nordic cooperation rooted in history, culture and family bonds. And we are not far from home in any sense of the word when we visit another Nordic country. The primary objective of the work of the Nordic Council of Ministers is to create forests and channels to facilitate cooperations and remove obstacles to the exchanges between us. And this will be even more important moving forward this time. And during these last recent years, the geopolitical changes have intensified security interest in the High North. And as you know, Norway, Sweden and Finland have joined NATO, and we are building stronger security relations. And this is more important for those of us living our lives in the High North. From my hometown in Porsanger, Finnmark, it's as far from here in Tromsø to the Olenia base in Russia, where a lot of the war is going on and a lot of the attacks from Ukraine also is happening. So we have it really close to our home. But the Nordic way is also a way of having our lives border crossing without even thinking about it. So on Saturday when I was on a soccer tournament with my daughter, we ended our day with having dinner at the restaurant in Finland. And then we drove home for Saturday night. And these close relations also shows us the seriousness of the international situation, and it is felt especially well for those of us living our lives here. That's why last August the Norwegian government presented the High North strategy, Norway in the North, in a new era. The fundamental changes to our security policy environment made a new strategic rethinking necessary. And although the main goal of our High North policy remains the same as before, strong and thriving local communities where people want to live, strengthening national stability and security, this is even more important in 2026. And having strong and thriving local communities is a main priority for the government. High North in a new era also tells us how the foreign minister also stated in the last session that this is our most important strategic era, and we have to make sure that people keep living their lives and choose to live here also in the future. And we are already working more closely with our neighboring countries, and now it is more relevant to explore potentials and deepen the cross-border cooperations between Norway, Sweden and Finland, adapted to the current situation. With that in mind, the government will further develop the North Nordic cooperations in areas like resilience and also mobility. In these uncertain times, I see Nordic and also European collaborations more important than ever. As I said, we aim to strengthen the cooperations in the northern Nordic region. It's also vital for us that this cooperation meets local and regional needs. So I'm looking forward to also hear the aspects from local and regional government in this session. Nordic cooperation is also an important part of our regional policy. The ongoing and fruitful Nordic, and I might say Northern Nordic dialogue, is helping us to share knowledge and tackle joint challenges across our borders. And using existing Nordic arenas and cooperations programs, we encourage and facilitate concrete cooperation on the ground. At the regional level, the North Nordic cooperation now is increasing the emphasis on resilience and preparedness. With our now even closer relationship with Sweden and Finland, our aim is to further support the cross-borders cooperations. This would be cooperations on themes such as development of local communities, building local resilience, supporting the green transition, and improving public services across our borders. And I think many of you will be familiar with the way our Nordic cooperations already facilitates connections between businesses, researchers, local authorities, NGOs, youth, and also indigenous actors. One important example of this is the support scheme administered by the Norwegian Barents Secretariat. The Secretariat can provide funding for cooperation projects mainly between partners in the Nordic Barents area, and is such an important area for cooperations across the borders. And this is contributing to develop opportunities and create solutions based upon local needs and potentials. It also gives us inspirations and new ideas to use in our own national policy development. So ending my intervention, I would like to express our strong support to the Nordic and Northern Nordic cooperation, including regional and cross-border cooperations. It provides us, hopefully, our Nordic partners and local actors in the north as well, with added value on many levels. Because we need each other now more than ever, and we must stand together to have strong, resilient local communities moving forward. And this is, I think, a main topic to show how resilience, peace, and growth for the years to come is created here in the Arctic. Thank you so much for the attention.
Thank you so much, State Secretary, for reminding us of the importance of the cooperation on all levels in the Nordics. It's now a great pleasure to introduce our host here in the city of Tromsø, Mayor of Tromsø, Gunnar Wilhelmsen.
Thank you, Gøril. January is very important in Tromsø. It's very busy because we start with the Tromsø International Film Festival, and then we go over to Nordic Festival, which is a music festival, and then we have Arctic Frontiers, and on Friday, I think, it's starts the Sami Week for the next week. Start on Friday. And this arrangement is through Tromsø. It started with Tromsø Kommune, and in the future I also hope that the county, the university, and so on will be a part of this company who makes a lot of good arenas to discuss different politics and business and also academia. European Youth Capital is 2026 in Tromsø. 3 years ago we were in Brussels and we pitched and we lose for 2025. We lose against Lviv in Ukraine, and that was okay. And the year after, we won. And now in 2026 is the European Youth Capital. And we not only want to have this year, but we have a lot of arrangement this year, but we hope that the youth want to come to Tromsø, study here, job here, live here. That's our way we want to end this year. You know, Tromsø, 50% of the population in Tromsø is under 35 years. So it's a young city. And earlier this morning I had a meeting with the South Korean city, and they ask a lot about the youth. And we have done a lot for the youth in Tromsø. We have the youth council, which come to the city hall, I think 3 or 4 times a year, to discuss what they means is important for them. So the youth is not only the future, it's the present too. We have to discuss with them how we're gonna have the future. So in Tromsø, we also discuss a lot about East-West. Earlier it was from north to south, we go to the government, but now we also are a member of the Arctic Mayors Forum, which is important area where we have 7 states, I think, and we have more than 25 municipalities. This organization is very important because we can discuss how to live in the Arctic. In Tromsø we have the Arctic Council. Last year, or in 2023 and 2024, I think it was, we had the leadership in Arctic Council. And now it's Denmark. That's the next 2 years. And we also had the Secretariat for Arctic Mayors Forum and the Arctic Council in Tromsø. You know, Tromsø has more than 140 nationalities lives here. And when we discuss what's happened up in north, we do it with Arctic Mayors Forum. We discuss it with Finland, east-west, instead of south, north, south. We discuss east-west. And now it's special because Sweden and Finland is into NATO. So we discuss infrastructure, military questions. We discuss also, so the rector comes from the university, and we discuss Arctic 6, which is important 6th university in northern part of Sweden, Finland, and Norway. So this future, I think, the Nordic Council Minister is important organization for the northern part of Nordic, more than ever, because they have a lot of money, and they want this region to get a success. So it's nice to be hosting all of you in Tromsø. I think it's on the Arctic frontiers more than 40 nationalities. That seem why how important it is. So thank you, and Göril stands up. It means it's over now. Welcome to Tromsø.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are not only in the municipality of Tromsø, we are in the county of Troms, Troms fylke, and it's a big pleasure to give the floor to Mari Siljebråten, Chair of Main Committee on Transport and Infrastructure from Troms County Council. Please, Mari.
Thank you, Göril, and thank you, Agnete and Gunnar, good friends at national and regional level. I will start with 3 questions that were outlined for this session. What is security? What is resilience? And what is sustainable growth? And I asked myself the question, what does that mean from a regional level? And in Troms County, with our responsibilities, because they are, in many ways, similar to the national and the local, but in some ways not. But in all matters, we have to cooperate with each other. And just as important, security for who? Resilience against what? And what does sustainable growth mean in the North today? Strengthening security, resilience, and sustainable growth in the High North requires actions on all levels, not just mine. Municipality, regional, and national, but also transnational levels must work together. Troms County and our priorities politically reflects this. We work to ensure security and safety for the inhabitants in our region, education and competence, innovation, attractive communities to live in, and strong modern infrastructure that binds us together. Those things are the key for sustainable societies as well. I strongly believe that robust regions in the north, not just in Norway, but in our neighboring countries and all the Nordic countries, are essential for coordinated and efficient development for the future. The idea that regions are unnecessary for the future is very misguided. And it is particularly harmful in a time of heightened Arctic security concerns. Security, resilience, and growth in the north is not possible without legitimacy, is a difficult word, in the north. And that requires a strong regional anchoring for the decisions that affects the people of the north. This brings me also to the democratic values. In a time when democracies are in a global decline, strengthening democratic foundations and representation is critical, especially in the north. The legitimacy depends on voices from the north being present in national decision-making, government, and national parliaments. That is something that has to be ensured in all the Nordic countries. Despite our differences in the Nordic, but also between national, regional, and local level, the Nordic countries share a strong democratic tradition that we need to ensure more than ever. Protecting and developing this tradition from local to region to national level is a shared responsibility. So, just to conclude with the 3 points I started with, societal development and settlement in the north, the possibilities to ensure development of strong local, regional communities, that is national security in practice. Resilience in the north strengthens the entire Nordic region and the Arctic, but you need to have the legitimacy in the north to ensure the resilience. Sustainable growth requires developing the North as a place where people live full lives, not just as a nature reserve or a workplace that you come to when you're working and live your life in other places of the country or the region. But I think we can all agree that focusing on the Nordic democratic tradition is more important than ever, and more cooperation, cross-country, cross-regional, national, local level, that is important for the future development of the Arctic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mari. You are absolutely right that strong local communities in our northern regions are indeed security. Team Nordic Arctic, we're very proud that tiny Tromsø, Umo and Luleå, with our friends all over the north, we have managed to secure a good cooperation with the Nordic Council of Ministers. And for 2 years previously, we've had Karen Ellemann Jensen here in Tromsø for Arctic Frontiers. Unfortunately, this time she could not join, but she sent one of her very best, Unni Kløstad, head of Department for Gender Equality, International Cooperation, Natural Resources and Culture from the Nordic Ministers. Please, Unni.
Thank you very much for that very nice introduction. I have to admit that we know each other. We're former colleagues, so thank you so much anyway. But distinguished guests and friends of the Arctic, on behalf of the Nordic Council of Ministers, I want to thank Pro Tromsø and Team Nordic Arctic for bringing us together here today, as you said. I would like to use this opportunity to share some of the concrete work that we are doing to ensure that Nordic cooperation brings smart Nordic solutions. When we talk about smart Nordics, we talk about cooperation that helps societies prepare better for crises, adapt faster to change, and create new opportunities for people and businesses. In a time marked by rapid change, one Nordic strength stands out: our ability to cooperate. The Nordic Council of Ministers is the formal framework that enables this cooperation to deliver results. And let me highlight 3 areas to illustrate this. First, societal security is at the top of every Nordic government's agenda. Today's crisis, whether geopolitical, digital, climate-related, hybrid, do not respect borders. Societal security is about a society's ability to sustain vital functions and protect its people, values, and way of life under extraordinary stress. Because these challenges are transboundary, cooperation is not optional, it is essential. The Nordic Council of Ministers provide a unique platform where shared political priorities are translated into joint preparedness, knowledge sharing, and trust between countries. It creates added Nordic value by helping national systems work better together and by developing new arenas for cooperation in a rapidly changing world. In a few hours, the Nordic Council of Ministers, together with the Arctic Mayors Forum, will officially launch a new Nordic Arctic project. The focus is on strengthening preparedness among local Arctic municipalities, specifically through sharing of knowledge. The example of concrete north to north, you say east to west, we say north to north cooperation, is key for our approach to Nordic Arctic cooperation. Second, AI and emerging technologies are transforming our economies and societies at an unprecedented speed. They hold enormous potential for growth, productivity, and better public services, but they also raise profound questions about governance, democracy, and trust. Through the Nordic Council of Ministers, the Nordic-Baltic region is working together to become a global leader in responsible digital transformation. Just a few months ago, we launched a new Nordic Baltic AI Center, and the center aims to promote AI use and development in the Nordic and Baltic regions, including in the Nordic Arctic. In the Nordics, technology is not only about efficiency, it is about people. The Nordic approach is clear. Innovation must go hand in hand with strong values. That means using AI to solve societal challenges while actively addressing risks such as algorithmic bias, misinformation, and threats to democratic processes. Third, future skills. Jobs are changing faster than ever. Some are disappearing, many are being reinvented, and new ones are emerging. The Nordic labor market model, built on cooperation between governments and labor market partners, has historically, that's almost a Freudian slip there, has delivered flexibility, security, and high employment. But today it faces pressures from the green and digital transition, demographic change, and global competition. That is why the Nordic Council of Ministers has strengthened its work on future skills, including establishing a new advisory board for Nordic tripartite dialogue. Its task is simple but critical: to anticipate future competence needs and to better match skills with the need of the businesses. The goal is competitiveness with inclusion by ensuring that all Nordic citizens can take part in the transition. In closing, Smart Nordics is being prepared, inclusive and value-driven. Through knowledge-based cooperation, we build... the last punchline is locked here. Resilience. And through resilience, we create new opportunities together, as Gurli started out by saying. So thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Unni. It looks like the Nordic Council of Ministers that you have listened, you have learned by traveling to the north, and like Gunnar said, you have money. So thank you for that. Dear friends, unfortunately, when we meet between Tromsø, Luleå, Umeå, Målselven, and Oulu and Rovaniemi these days, we talk a lot about security, defense, preparedness. We speak about what to do, how the municipalities can manage, that our young people are scared. How can we work together? And there's often, at least here in Norway, a saying that said, we should be like the Finns. We should work like Finland. And therefore, it's a pleasure to introduce the representative of Finland's embassy in Norway, Anina Koivula-Olsta, who will speak about comprehensive security and preparedness, the Finnish concept. Please.
Thank you so much. Hopefully the mic is working. Yes, thank you. So I start by telling you a couple of examples of my own life. So when I was a child and young in the 1980s and 90s, I heard every Monday at 12 o'clock this kind of test alarm, kind of siren that came from the loudspeakers all over the city. We never thought about it much. I mean, we just knew that, oh, it's 12 o'clock and it's Monday. Yes, right. It was part of my childhood's soundscape. Then another example, as an adult living in Helsinki, having 2 kids, what we really often did, we went in the rainy days, especially deep underground, in the middle of the Helsinki. And there was kind of this bay cave, you know, a bit like Leo's Lekeland. And the kids just loved it, you know. And there were other facilities as well, huge sports halls and all kinds of things. And these were, of course, civilian shelters that could be taken into use in 72 hours. So this sort of illustrates how this preparedness is and has been a part of Finnish everyday life. Because for nearly 80 years we had to be prepared to defend and take care of our small nation, maybe alone. So this is why we have this kind of whole of society approach to security and to preparedness. And it is really real whole of society. So we call this total preparedness, beredskap, with our own this comprehensive security concept. But it's all about the same thing, total preparedness, total defense. But we like to talk about comprehensive security. And it is a cooperation model of the Finnish preparedness where vital societal functions are secured together by authorities, businesses, organizations like NGOs, and citizens. So really everybody take part in it. And we have identified already 20 years ago, but they are still very valid, 7 interlinked vital functions of society, such as economy, infrastructure, and security of supplies, psychological resilience, internal security, and defense capability, just to mention a few. So the basic requirement is that these functionalities must be maintained in all circumstances. It would take too much time to tell all about our system, but I just tell some of our sort of specialities that maybe many countries don't have. So we never abandoned compulsory military service after the wars and the Cold War. So we still have over 20,000 young people that complete military service every year, after which they are part of the reserve, which I think there might be people who know better, but over 200,000 strong. And then those civilian shelters that I already mentioned, we have around 50,000 of them. And they can accommodate almost everyone in Finland. Actually, Helsinki can accommodate more than its inhabitants. So also the tourists that happen to be there, we could shelter them. So we have those big public shelters, but then there are also shelters in the normal block buildings where people live. So they are used as a storage, so they are part of the buildings. Then one speciality is we have national defense courses, and they can create cooperation and cohesion across different sectors of society. They are organized 4 times a year, and participants are invited, so invitation only. And they are politicians, civil servants, business people, NGO and media representatives, so really from all walks of life. And these invitations are really highly sought after. So people think it's a huge honor when they get one. It tells that they are in the important sort of point of the society. So if the crisis would happen, they would be needed. And then we also have like regional defense courses. People go there voluntarily, are also like they're really popular. But then also one sort of peculiarity is our National Emergency Supply Agency, so NESA, N-E-S-A, which has a pivotal role in coordinating security of supplies between the private and public sectors. So this is basically an extensive network of over 1,000, maybe 1,500 companies from all critical sectors of the Finnish economy. And actually compulsory stockpiling is the responsibility of these companies who are willingly made an agreement with NESA. So we are prepared, but we are even better prepared when we do it with our partners. So international cooperation is really vital for Finland's preparedness. We do it, for example, within the EU, between the Nordic countries, and also bilaterally, like, for example, with Norway. Just an example, at EU, we have proposed the strategy for a preparedness union. When we had our presidency of the Council, Nordic Council of the Ministers, we emphasized comprehensive and extensive preparedness. And I don't know how many of you know, but Finland and Norway have an agreement on the security of supplies in war and crisis situations since 2006. It was just renewed last year. It's really tight, practical cooperation, and I think it is broadening all the time. And of course, this cooperation and connections in the northern areas of our countries are extremely important for Finland. We often say that Finland is actually like an island. You know, we have a Baltic Sea surrounding us in the south and in the west. And in the east, we have Russia. More than 90%, or maybe even more than 95% of our trade goes through maritime routes and connections in the Baltic Sea. So you can just imagine how important these northern routes and connections really are. So we need these connections here in the northern areas from east, west, for security of supplies, of course, the building local resilience and livelihoods, and of course also for defense. So we need logistical connections, but also, or first and foremost, we need between the cities, between communities, between the regions, and between the people. And I believe that this is exactly what we are doing here today. So thank you for this opportunity to talk to you today. This has been a good example of how important this preparedness is to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anina. During today's high-level session, it was underlined with great concern and seriousness the need for science, knowledge, and cooperation between universities. And I would therefore like to invite Rector Dag Rune Olsen from UiT, the Arctic University of Norway, and representing also here Arctic 6, to speak about science and knowledge and insight and innovation. Please, Rector.
Thank you, Gøril. Good day to all of you that have found it worthwhile to go to Tromsø and Arctic for 40 years this year as well. I think this conference is probably more relevant than ever. I was about to say, I'm sad to say. And the reason is, of course, that we think that the high north, the Arctic, has always been important. Yes, it is important because we live here. We see the impact of global warming and consequences of the climate change on ecosystems, things like that, and that's important. And we think that the world should recognize that. There's all sorts of things or reasons why we think the Arctic is of importance. But of course, lately it has become important and relevant in a different way than earlier on. I don't know if you had time to go to the main session this morning, but I found it quite relieving to listen to the Governor General when she said that to every challenge we have shared knowledge. And I think that is basically what it is all about. Yes, there are challenges ahead, one way or the other, and I think preparedness is about to realizing that there will be challenges that we do not foresee. So we need to have systems that need to be installed to deal with these challenges that we will face in the future. Preparedness is not dealing with challenges of today. It is dealing with challenges of tomorrow. No unknown ones, perhaps. Also, at the main session today, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, he made really a case for science-based knowledge, and he was referring back to the Enlightenment period and the threats that we see against, well, respect for knowledge. But what I think is important, of course, as a university leader, it goes without saying that I'm defending research-based knowledge. Yes, we can challenge it, but there are no alternative truths. We seek truth, and if you disrespect that, we have problems. But coming back to the Governor General and her words today, which I was, as I said, I think is a relief to listen to a head of state pointing to the importance of sharing knowledge, because at least in the Nordics and the northern part of the Nordics, our communities are not large. We will not be robust, we will not be resilient if we do not share knowledges so we can prepare for the challenges ahead. And I think to a large extent, institutions like my own, universities, have a responsibility in that respect. So what have we done as university in Tromsø and in Norway and the north of the Nordics? Well, we have formed a network which I think is different from a number of different networks where academics just come together and well, share knowledge. That's important, but it's for the sake of the academic activities as such. This network is not that. It is a network consisting of the two northernmost universities in Finland, Sweden, and Norway. We call ourselves Arctic 6. And we do have different competencies. We can share knowledge and we can strengthen each other's profile and complement each other profile also. I think that is what sharing is all about. We can complement each other, we can fill in gaps, and we can also challenge each other with respect to the existing knowledge. So we can join forces and become much stronger. How can this be of importance to society's robustness, resilience, security? Well, I think if we look outside our universities and how can these networks contribute to societal resilience, development, etc. Well, I think if we pick topics, as we've done, two topics, for example, which is important, I think, seen from north of the Nordic countries, that is security issues and energy supply. How can we contribute to the development for societies when it comes to, for example, energy, the energy situation? How can we see to it that there is a knowledge base for the policies that are developed? How can we, through knowledge, research-based knowledge, also guide and inform policymakers with respect to security issues? It's not only the military aspects of security issues. This year in Norway we have 2026 is the total defense year. And I think there's a lot of components that goes into a robust, resilient society in addition to the military apparatus that is going to be developed. So I think we can contribute to society, the resilience, the robustness, the security and preparedness issues in our societies by joining forces, but also engage with at other arenas, for example, in the energy sector and the security sector, as I mentioned. The last thing I would say is that universities has been challenged over the last few years with the new security situation. That means we cannot potentially collaborate with universities or academic institutions or businesses or whatever it is in any other country anymore. That has challenged us a lot. How does we let's say deal with export control, which is a regulation? How do we deal with security issues related to non-alliance or non-alliance country universities? That's new to us. And of course, at my own university, we also had a case, or at least of high-profile espionage. So we need to deal with those kind of things without being paralyzed, which is extremely important. But because universities is about, going back to the Governor General, sharing knowledge. At the end of this year, we will have a course for our students in preparedness, basic preparedness principles. Do you have water back home? Most students do not have. So from the basics to the more elevated, if you want, academic knowledge, we share together and outside universities for the better purpose, which is collaboration across the Nordic countries in the north. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rector, for that information about how the universities cooperate. We will now hear from the mayors living in municipalities in the Arctic. It has been underlined from the early morning the important role of the societies themselves. And of course, this panel is moderated by a very important stakeholder in Arctic cooperation, the Arctic Mayors Forum, by Director Patty Bruns. Please, Patty.
Good afternoon, everybody. Is there a graceful way to get up here? Not really, but that's okay. We are going to do this maybe a little differently than I originally thought, more of a quick fire conversation with my mayors. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Mayor Gunnar Wilhelmsen, Mayor Karina Sameli, Mayor Mary Louise Runmark, Mary Ari Alatsasava, and perhaps our newest member of Arctic Mayors Forum, if I can get him to send me a letter, Martin Nemo, Mayor of Målselv. Please join us. This is an armchair discussion, so I'm supposed to be seated, I think. Can I take this one too? I kind of want to walk us quickly through. We have, I see they put 18 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock for us. So I'd hope to kind of go through this conversation talking about the concerns, the cooperation that you're engaged in now on this topic, how we can bolster our cooperation in the future, and also a tiny bit on social sustainability. But one of the things that we've heard throughout the last couple of days, and very much in this opening big picture session, was that there's a big focus on security. And what I'm wondering is if you as mayors feel that you're being listened to at the national, regional, and international levels when it comes to safety, security, and how it's impacting your communities. So I'm going to start first with you, Martin.
Actually, I'm not a member of this Arctic
know.
Forum, but it's quite a scandal, actually. So I'm representing Målselv, and it's the largest house for defense in Norway, actually. So I should, if there's money, I should stay there. Yeah. So I think we are very lucky to live in the north. We heard that it's a hotspot in the world right now, and we have to think about that, because we are Norwegian, northern Norwegian. We are talking ourselves down, that we're complaining and so on, but we have to be brave and proud of what we can have here in the north. So I think that's important perspective. And to your question, Patty, it's I think my residents in Målselv, they are quite familiar with threats, I think. But when I'm in the south, I have to use my loud voice to tell them that we have a problem now. It's we can be in war. Maybe, and also the prime minister said that in the New Year's speech also. So I think we're getting there. That this is a serious situation that we live in.
Absolutely. I'm going to turn actually to Mary Louise. You, what does this look like in Umeå in terms of the geopolitical situation, and what are the concerns that you're hearing from your citizens about, not only the security challenges, but also the urgency in working together across the Nordic regions?
I think it's necessary. We have to collaborate, and we have to do it on a wise way. 15 years back, I started up together with the universities and the military and the researching about CBRNA, because I thought that our knowledge could go over the world to help each other, not in war, in peacetime. At that time, I thought we will never be in the time where we are now. So I think it's necessary, and Arctic is an early warning for the planet. If we can't deal the research message together with each other, why do we have the research then? I think it's necessary, and we have to have the young people, the citizens, to trust us. Because what we do have now is a new world order. You can't build peace without democracy. And when I talk to people around as a researcher, people coming visiting us, or the young people, you have to put inside to have the oxygen to think more free. And that is culture, leisure, to be together in different projects, and to think of the future is a brave future. So we have to help each other. And the West Link, we have to work with that. We have a lot of exchanges with companies around in the Nordic countries and over the globe and so on. But I think it's necessary to share what you said from the university. We have to share everything together. Then we will be strong and put up the democracy on the high level again.
Absolutely. And having recently visited Umeå through another project, it was very clear that the concepts and that art and gender equality and democracy and really caring for communities is something that's very strong in Umeå. And I'd like to come back to that later on when we talk about social sustainability. But Ari, I'm going to get a perspective from you now from Finland. What are some of the things that are concerning your citizens right now in the current sort of geopolitical situation that we find ourselves in? And are you able to take those concerns higher up the chain?
First of all, if I continue what Mari-Lou said about democracy, I think that we share the common values here in the North. And that's very important. We have common values and common, let's say, idea of the society, what do we want? And that's the very strong element in our life and how we develop our communities and societies. I think that in Oulu and overall in Finland, the economic situation has been quite bad. So that means that most threat or things people are thinking is their own economic situation, or do they have job, or what is the unemployment situation. But if we take a look at this geopolitical situation, I think that most of the Finns agree that we joined the NATO a couple of years ago. That's a good, how would I say, basic or it's a good backbone in this kind of situation. Even though we have well prepared for many things, as we just heard. I would like to say also that with these common values, I think that these societies are such similar that we should, how would I say, strengthen more our cooperation activities, especially here in the north, because we have a borderless border, and it's very easy to go one way or another. Especially in the business sector, I would like to see more Finnish companies here in Tromsø and vice versa in Oulu, for example, the Tromsø companies, and because that kind of activities strengthen our communities. It's important that we say in policy level, but if we go to the individual level, it's more important. And I use this opportunity because I don't know, do I have any other opportunity to say anything?
Probably, but
I invite all of you to join the party to Oulu. We have a European Capital of Culture year, and that's one way to combine with others. Okay, thank you.
That's great. All right. Not only, you have the European Culture Capital in Umeå, we have the Arctic Arts Summit, and Gunnar, I'm going to turn to you now, and you and Karina, to talk a little bit about some of the cooperation that's going on in the Arctic. And Tromsø, you mentioned the Arctic or the European Youth Capital, but why is cooperation so important for Tromsø in the current realities when we think about sort of preparedness if we put kind of preparedness front and center. So how are you aligned with the others on the panel and the other mayors in the Arctic Mayors Forum? We'd like to hear a little more about that.
Yes, first I will go back 3 or 4 years ago when Arctic Mayors Forum had Teams meeting about the pandemic. We also have Russia with us. And we discuss how we're going to manage that worldwide problem. And also from Russia, we get the truth. They told us everything what was difficult in Russia. And one of the things I learned about that meeting and the cooperation with Arctic Mayors Forum is that Finland is in front for everything. They are prepared. So when the pandemic comes, they just open the door and all the equipment was there for the pandemic. And in Norway, we had a lot of money, but not equipment for the pandemic. So we have no medicine, no equipment for what we need for the hospitals and for the community. And now we have a new situation, not without Russia. And northern part of Norway, Finland and Sweden, we're going to work together more. Business, as Ari said, the university, NATO. You know, in BNP in Norway, we have 5%, and one of the 0.5% is for infrastructure. In the total defense year, we have that big discussion. And the big discussion in northern part of Norway is not if it's going to be in Målselv or Tromsø. The big discussion is our enemy for money is south. They want the money instead of us in northern part of Norway. And that's a big discussion in Norway because we thought not all, but in 2008, we thought that the Cold War was over. We stopped invest in the military. We stopped more or less invest in infrastructure. All of that we have to do a lot now, the next 10 years. So Sweden, I said it in a panel discussion yesterday with Karina, that Sweden has done a lot with power to the northern part of Sweden, and railways to the northern part of Sweden, and also industry. And that three things is important because then the people move to northern part of. And in Norway, we still discuss. And we not start building any infrastructure yet. And I hope I'm going to meet the Prime Minister later today. We have the Prime Minister is coming, and we also have 4 ministers, and we have to discuss this. We have to act now. We can't discuss any longer. We have to tell the government which direction we need in northern part of Nordic. Thank you.
Excellent. Karina, I want to pick up on that because we know and we heard on the panel today that there's a lot of investment going into defense. It's not only in Sweden, it's in Canada and all across the Arctic region. So how do we make sure that the security money, the money that's earmarked for security, that we can also use it to support community resilience and preparedness? We know there isn't a lot of budget for, the things that we used to kind of count on. So how do we position ourselves, you and Arctic Mayors Forum and all the cooperation networks to sort of figure out a way to get some of that funding for communities and do good work?
And you need to do that. There's a lot going on up in the Arctic right now in northern Sweden. We have minerals, we have a lot of electricity production, we have big industrial projects going on, and that affects people. And who is there to handle the local conflicts? Well, I'm sorry to say, it's not the government. It's probably not the companies doing it. It's us. It's we are the ones sitting here. And it's actually one of our challenges to make sure that we get, if we have resources that people are interested in, people where we live will be affected. And it's our job to make sure that as lot of the surplus as possible stays in our regions and make sure to build communities. I very much appreciate my colleagues because we learn a lot from them. Sweden has been we've been in peace for 200 years. We didn't think war was ever coming. A municipality in Sweden, actually, the law said that we should plan for accidents and not for war. And right now we need to refocus everything on, the threat is a war, actually. And then you need to look at your neighbors, of course. I look at Ari and Erik is sitting here. They had their work on preparedness and we didn't. So what do we have to learn from them? And that's important for me when I then talk to my government or to companies. What do we need to build together to be able to be resilient in our communities? We learn from their examples. We don't need to invent the wheel ourselves. Norway has for long had a strategy of people, you need to have people living there to be able to protect it. No Swedish politicians has ever said that. That has not been a part of the Swedish policy. That means that every community in Sweden has to be strong enough to attract people to move in there. And that is something I actually take examples out of my Norwegian colleague. How do you make sure and how do you get the state level to be in on the attractiveness of my community? What can they do to make sure that someone lives here? Because that's the only way we can protect this area in the future. So our network is important because we learn and we can take the good examples from each other and then we can present them to our governments or companies that we need to include in the work.
Excellent. Mary Louise wanted to say something and then we'll come to you, Martin. No, you go first.
The ladies first, yes. I will tell you the truth, and nothing but the truth. If we will have brain drain, then we are the big loser. So we have to build sustainability, trust in our municipalities, and we have to work together in an east-west link. We have done it for thousands of years. Has just been for 100 years, which we have been going from north to south. So Arctic is the future and no brain drain. University? Yes. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Martin.
Yes, defense is quite big in northern part of Norway, especially in the army, in the Målselv and Bardu municipal. And we lack people and also competence. It's a huge problem for us that we don't have problems. And in this, you talk about the High North report, Agneta, and that has some incredible good words. It's fantastic, but we need action. We need money. We need to build the defense industry, supply industry, and that's jobs, civilian jobs. We need civilian jobs. Then the partners can move here. We have a lot of problem with commuting. They commute, live in Oslo and Bergen and so on. But I meet people from Bergen and Bærum every day in my street in Bardufoss, and they're so happy that they should live in Målselv for 2 years and try that, and they're still there after 25 years. So I don't get this narrative that you can't live here, you don't have jobs. We have jobs, but we have to talk them through so people can come here. But we need some help from the government, not only millions. I think we need billions.
So how do we take the lessons or the things that need to be done? How do we do them quickly? Because that's what you're saying. You're saying that we need to work together, which we are, right? We have a lot of different networks. I know that you know each other very well. We talked about, Uni mentioned a project that we're going to be launching today. We have our partners in the audience for that project. Like, we are doing the work. The challenge is, I think, how do we do it quickly? So I'd love to hear just really quickly from all of you, what do you need? What do we do to take the talk into action? Ari?
As Marilu said, that there is a connection between south and the north at the moment. So we need to get license or financing or things like that from the south, from the government. And what we have, what we are saying at the moment to the government in Finland, that not we have solutions to general national level problems. So this is not just an area that you should put money and nothing comes out. But we offer solutions. It's solutions for scientific field also, and also solutions for let's say minerals and things like that. Unfortunately, the birth rate is getting down all the time. It's not a problem of the north. It's a problem for all over the Europe, and that's one reason why we need people from abroad. We need them, and I would say that these a couple of fast actions is to convince the government in the south that there is future, and the future is bright in the north, and you should invest here. And the other thing is that the society is open to new ideas and new people.
So be loud and proud. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to say to the national level, if you don't need us, we don't need you. So to be dressed for success, you have to design good life. And I think it's like that. I know if we have good ideas, we do it. And now it's time for East, West, and the Arctic. And we are changing the globe, not looking from the south up. We are. And we have to make it respectfully. Yeah.
Absolutely. Gunnar, a quick solution, and then the last two, and then we're going to hand it over to the next panel.
Yes, we have discussed East-West now.
Yeah.
And it's so easy that we start building infrastructure. How are we going to go from Tromsø to Oulu? Do we need train? Do we need roads for tanks? Do we need bridges? Because we're going to use the sea to go with equipment for the military. And we need roads and we need railway. So when the military says they won't train from Nordic to Bardufoss, and when my government said to the journalists, I will talk what the military needs, then we're going to decide. And then the military says we need good roads to Finland, to Sweden, and then we start building it. We don't need to go for a process for 2 or 5 years, and so on. And all the equipment which Martin needs in Bardufoss, they know what they need. The military knows what. I had a meeting with Lervik, I think, the army chief, and he said, I know what I need. Let's start building it.
Right.
That's necessary. Thank you.
Karina.
And the short answer is always that money speeds things up. That is the solution to very many of our questions. I am elected. That means that I don't know if I'm in office. In September, we have the elections, and I need to have a policy to be able to run my city in a way that people like it to. If they asked me for shelters 5 years ago, we would have put money into shelters 5 years ago, but they didn't. They asked me about schools or roads or elderly care, and that means that we are already behind. And right now, now they want shelters and good preparedness, but they still want the schools and the elderly care and the road and clean water and garbage being handled. So that is actually one of the issues we as the local politicians has to handle, that the needs are just growing, but our incomes are not growing. So money is the easy way to speed things up.
And the last word goes to you, Martin. For
yes, I'll be very fast here, but money. That's okay, I think.
Yeah,
but
got that was okay.
like you say in Sweden, but we have to create jobs, civilian jobs. We have to start building this infrastructure. Good plans, both from the army and and also for the civilian infrastructure. But we have to don't make this plan in progress. So we have to. So that's the main thing, I think. And we have to be good with the self-supply, and maybe we should collaborate with Finland and Sweden in the east-west side, because it's not sustainability that you drive the food from the south to the north. So we have to make our own food, but maybe we should cooperate with the Swedish and the Finnish.
Wonderful message. Thank you so much. Please join me.
Thank you very much, Secretary General Patty Burns, for those very interesting remarks from the Arctic Mayors Forum, and we will all remind Målselv to be a member. It's a it's a great pleasure to welcome the next panel, True North, Martine and Brynjar, Thomas Benson from Located, Petri Salavesi from KL Mechanics, and Tony Haugen from Avio. Please join me on stage. Du alene. Ja. I would like to start with you, Martine. Youth, people, sustainable societies, it's always mentioned, and like the mayor said, Tromsø is the European Youth Capital in 2026. Given the seriousness of the situation, the needs, the policies, what are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? It's an interesting situation that we're in right now. Mayor Gunnar was talking about when we started this process of becoming the European Youth Capital back in 2022. And we got the title for 26 in 2023. And resilience and security was not part of the bid whatsoever. And that has sort of risen through the last 3 years to become one of the most important things that we are focusing on. We have our opening ceremony now in February, later in February. We're inviting people from Ukraine, Lviv, who had the title last year. And through that cooperation that we have with them, we see how it's changing and how it's changing for young people. Last year in fall, we visited, we talked to 1,000 young people in all of northern Norway, and they were scared. They were scared and they're afraid of what is happening and how it will affect the locals and the livelihoods and the lives of everybody living in the Arctic and in northern Norway. So we're watching it with keen eye, and it's definitely become a bigger, more important part of the year as a European Youth Capital than we ever could have imagined when we got the title in November of 23.
This event is about Nordic resilience, Nordic friendship, and innovation, sustainability, but also business. In what way do you incorporate business and innovation in the plans for Tromsø as European Youth Capital?
We have 3 main goals and values for the US European Youth Capital. It's making Tromsø, Northern Norway and the Arctic a better place to live, work and create for young people. And both the work and the create part is very connected with business and working life, just because we want young people to be able to make their own jobs through entrepreneurship, be able to have a career that's in Northern Norway or the Arctic for their whole lives, and having a hub in this part of the country. In this part of the country where young people want to stay and want to live in and want to work, and then we also need to have the possibilities to do that. So we're trying to facilitate for that to happen. But of course, it's just one year in like a very very broad perspective. So we're trying to do our best to sort of facilitate for that.
Thank you. Working, living, and creating in the Arctic. Tony from Avio Solutions, you created something. It's on your lap. Share with us. What is it?
We in Avio is a tech company from the northern part of Norway. We work in the biggest infrastructure in the world, one of those, the power grid. The power grid is the backbone for all modern communities. So we started in 2016 with ideas to develop technology to help and more utilize the power grids. And in the beginning, it was just add-on when we talk about defense and this typical problem. But today, it's not an add-on anymore. So this is it, and it's cool that it is from the northern part of Norway.
And what exactly does this nice piece of art do?
It looks like Steve Jobs have decided, but it's actually us. You connect it just in the grid. You don't have to turn off the power. And they provide unique data, so you can run the power grid more efficient. And that's very, very important for the community, especially in the northern part of Norway, but also in other parts of Sweden, Finland. So with this equipment, we can have more power through the grids. So a good example is in Vesterålen and Lofoten. Every industry is on pause for at least 10 years because there's not more power in the area. But that's old thinking.
So when you started your business and made a living out of your idea, did you imagine that you would be so important for security?
And in the beginning of December, I thought it was strange to have an email from NATO. So I think it was 3,000 companies in Europe that had this application in, and we are one of the lucky ones.
You're part of the Diana program.
We are a part of the Diana program.
And what does that mean for you? What kind of opportunities do that bring for you?
We've been seen, and all eyes is in this area, but more the people you can connect with. And some of you have been talking about it in this session, that we need to share. Knowledge is very, very important. And that's good to have open doors to Finland and Sweden, and also now the NATO world. So for us, it's important, and it puts on Auja on the map.
Thank you. We'd like to move on to you, Thomas, from Located. Please share with the audience what do you do? What kind of activities does your business provide?
Yes, we have made a platform, so we actually do mapping of production equipment. So we could see that the production industry in Europe have the same problem as a carpenter. They do not market their hammer and saw. They market their houses and which kind of segment they're into. So if you try to Google prototyping or CNC machining, you will probably end up on a Chinese or US page. So it's easier to prototype on the other side of the world. So by mapping all these capacities inside the industries and not focusing so much of the businesses, we are trying to do cooperation between different segments based on only the equipment. So you could put up a request on the platform, and the platform will then decide which kind of supplier that could be potential supplier on this cases.
And you use artificial intelligence in your work.
That is actually what we are building, yes.
Yeah.
And also, Pro Tromsø invited us quite early to Aulo. And then we met KL Mechanics. And I immediately saw the difference between the setup, the mechanical setup on that workshop, comparing to the industry in Norway. So it's very complementary to the Norwegian industry. It's actually more, I will say, Asian setup for mass production that you see here. Also because the Finnish are very good on the resilience part. We have been connected with the Finnish additive manufacturing network and also the DMEC network, the industrial network. So actually we have more silence and mapped industries in Finland now than in Norway.
So that trip to Oulu really paid off for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. We actually even have Finnish investors as well, but they live in Canada.
Moving on to you, Petri, from KL Mechanics. Please share with us.
All right. KL Mechanics, we are specialists in fine mechanics, precision mechanics. And our customer defines their business quite well. It's like a low volume, high mix. It's not like Asian production, but the volumes are quite low compared to Asia. So typically the devices we assembly and we manufacture the components, typical batch size is between 10 to 200 pieces of part. So it's a low volume. KL Mechanics is today one of the biggest companies in our business in Finland. So our turnover is 17.5 million euro. We have 120 employees. 2 production sites. We have 35 CNC machines, injection molding machines, 3D printers, and so on. So our customers are typically like, for example, you could be like our customer. There is a lot of machine components inside of that device and the plastic covers, and we could do everything for that part. But we have also customers like ABB, Valmet Automation, Nokia, Coherent, that are the global players. And they are the base. But we need to have also like growth companies, startup companies, and we can grow together with the customers, our companies. We can support them, and we not just to make the components, but we offer like design for manufacturing, design for assembly services. We design together with the customers how it will be like profitable to build that device, for example.
So the 3 of you represent each segment of the value chain. Yeah. And what does it mean to cooperate? Will you cooperate more? Is this something new that you see more of?
I would say I started at KL Mechanics 12 years ago, and then in Oulu we had Nokia. That was big one. Turnover was 3 million euro. Today it's 17.5. We have grown a lot. Then the business was local. We thought quite local business. But today I would say that the local business is Nordic. It doesn't matter if the customer is in Narvik or Tromsø or Alta or Luleå or Stockholm. The business is Nordic.
But we spoke about trust and the Nordic way and the democratic values. Does that mean something in the business for you?
For us, absolutely. With Norwegian people and companies, it's so easy to communicate and cooperate and common values, as Ari told, that was good word. I need to pro that. We have same language. Yeah. We have same values. When we speak something, we promise something, we keep the promises.
And you go to the sauna and you make...
Yeah, that's a part. The ride snowmobiles and every nice stuff. We do that a lot.
So I have a little bit of a general question for the whole panel. Maybe we've spoken a lot about policy, science. Do you feel that business is incorporated into the conversation enough, or would you want business and innovation to be a bigger part of the cooperation and the conversation when we speak about strong Arctic communities?
Yeah, I will say that it will be beneficial to be included more, even though we are a startup. We have the total defense here in Norway right now. The municipalities should be doing something to make preparedness, and we could see some public companies or so on, they get funding to do manually mapping of industries. I will not give any criticism on that, but it will be with a mindset of peacetime. So you have the mindset of production certification and quality assurance. I have been in Ukraine twice. There is nothing such a thing as production certification and quality system. It's about decentralized production, and the innovation is going so rapidly, it's impossible to have one production facility. You have to have it very many places to actually be not a target.
So what you're saying is that maybe it's too bureaucratic for you sometimes, given the security situation that we see?
Yeah, I learn a lot. I know these women are sitting with a lot of money that could do the process. Yeah. No, but we are already like integrated two Finnish companies inside our platform. One is the digital solution to analyze 3D files, and the other one is actually a company that have been growing very fast, and they are hiring seniors with engineering competence that could be providing hourly knowledge. And that is some of the problem in the Nordic or the northern part of Norway to get this kind of experienced workforce, and this could be done digitally. So.
Avio solution, you are sort of on everybody's mind these days. Well, with the mayors listening and the Nordic Council of Ministers and the ministry, what would you be your advice going forward to, because we need more innovation, we need more businesses, we need more young people. What from your journey, what would you have wanted to be in place when you started?
Money.
But
we had actually the director of NHO yesterday visiting us. Then we had this discussion about capital, but more or less a little bit more fast moving. When you have a potential unicorn in the region, how to protect it. So one, grow with it. Now we are searching. You can check Finn, 3 new new people. We are still hiring and want to hire a lot of more people. But so it's not so easy just from being from the northern part of Norway to be so sold out. We want to stay here. We want to grow here. And we have now KSAT and we have Anja Space. We have a lot of technology. We had Nokia and a lot of things happening in the northern part of Finland and Sweden as well. So my wish is how to protect it. We have familiar with the university, and a lot of science and medicine has been sold early out from the northern part of Norway. So protect us, so we don't want to leave. We could have left, but we want to stay here, and I think it's important now because we are on the top of the world, and we have one of the coolest technologies. So yeah.
Yeah, Martina.
I think that's a great example, and we see a lot of entrepreneurial businesses that started in Tromsø, started in this area, and then moved to Oslo because that's where the people are, that's where the competencies are, and that's where they can get the employees that they want, and that's such a shame because we do have them here. The people and the knowledge is here. We just need to show them off and show off the opportunities that are here.
So do you think that young people maybe are not aware of all the companies or all the opportunities? How can businesses and politicians and all of us work in a better way to inform youth about the growing possibilities?
It's a very interesting question, and I don't have the answer.
We have to be on TikTok. Are you on TikTok? Yeah.
I just wanted to say that Norway has one of the lowest risk taker percentages of young people wanting to be entrepreneurs, and we need to change that. We need to facilitate for entrepreneurs wanting to be entrepreneurial and do the work, start the partnerships and the businesses, because we need that, and we need that to grow, and young people need to see that that's an opportunity also here.
Thomas.
I'm from Mo i Rana. It's one of the municipalities that have biggest export in the northern part of Norway because of metal production. And there you have all these service companies. It's 9 hours drive to Oslo for spare parts, comparing to the main capital where all the spare parts in Norway are. It's 13 hours. And it's the same for Målselv, it's the same for Tromsø, so the same, but just the distance to Oslo is even bigger. And we actually don't have railways north of Trondheim. It's gone. So cooperating across the Arctic is beneficial.
Petri.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that we have existing ecosystems, especially in Oulu region. We have excellent municipal and universities, and that's good base for startup companies, high technology companies, innovations, and that brings people, and there is no brain drain. That was good word also. So the people who study at university, they stay in Oulu region, and that's the strength of the area that we also in point of security, that there is a lot of knowledge in Oulu region, and same thing in Luleå, Trondheim, and Tromsø.
It was mentioned earlier. So does Helsinki know about you?
No,
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
Helsinki is actually the market area in Helsinki is bigger than Oulu.
Yeah.
So it's not the biggest market, the Oulu region. So that's also like a part of this, not local, but I think we're a bit bigger.
Yeah. We're gonna have to conclude our conversation. I'll give you the microphone. You can say a few words going forward to all of us. What you hope for in the next 5 years, both when it comes to cooperation between the municipalities in Norway, Finland, and Sweden in the Nordics, and whether you're optimistic that we will actually have stronger societies with more innovation, business, and young people. You want to start, Martina?
We need to do something, and we need to cooperate more, and we need to show young people the opportunities that are here. That is sort of the main thing that I want to get across, because the opportunities are here. We just need to show that they are.
And in May, end of May, you are hosting a Nordic Arctic Youth Summit with friends from Finland and Sweden. Maybe business will be on the agenda as well.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's a very important topic to young people between 15 and 35.
Tony?
For the future, I think the future starts today, and it starts with a first meeting with the KL mechanics. So it's actually, I got this email from the NATO, and I was the first one to send it. Was Jukki in Business Oulu. Do you have companies that have NATO classification in Finland? Half an hour later, I had these companies. I could call them. So I really want to have, it's not going to be only talk, but figure out how to open door for us so we can have this knowledge. If you provided a world with Nokia, you can provide us with communication or something. Also, you have it, and the same in Sweden. So open doors so we can collaborate.
Thomas?
I believe we have to do something if we're going to speed up this cooperation between the countries, and that is to start East-West airlines. Because we can't go down to Helsinki, Oslo, and up again. It's time-consuming and very, much cost.
I like when we are doing business. It's always business matters, and I need to thank Maja. You have done a great job. Like municipals,
Maja from Business Oulu. She's very active.
They are matchmaking us. So without Maja, we wouldn't be here. So that's one thing that everyone can support. Like universities, they do together innovations and research. That's very important, that we can get new technologies and innovations. Municipalities, they do together, and after all, we do business between the companies.
So to conclude, lots of things are going on. We have some success stories already. We have young people who want to stay and create in the Arctic, and we need more money. And we will hopefully have it. And thank you so much, and also to all of you joining, and for those watching us online. Thank you.